Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Matt. This is Bask in the Story, and today we're going to do 10 before the end. So 10 books I want to read before the end of 2023, because I've got loads of plans for 2024, so we need to get these books read. Now, I first saw this on Simon's channel, so Savage Reads, and I believe he first saw it on Brett's channel, so I'll link both of them down below. There's nothing like stealing content from other creators. So we will go through these 10 rapid fire, and I'll give you a very brief why I want to read them before the end of the year. But as we head into winter and coziness and Christmas, the first two books definitely fall on that list. So the first one I don't have a physical copy of because I'm actually borrowing it from the library, and it will finally be coming in the next week or two, so I have to read it before the end of the year, and that is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I've not read it yet. It's cozy fantasy. It's been all the rage all over BookTube. I know his new one's out. I believe it's out. Bookshops and Bone Dust and Bookshops. One way or the other. I want to read this one before that, see what it's like, see what this cozy fantasy trend is like. And Christmas and winter seems like the best time to curl up with a cozy book. So that's the first one. The second one is actually continuing with the Christmas theme, but also the classics. So I've started reading classics properly really for the first time this year, and I set myself a target of 5-6 books that I wanted to read, and I've had an absolute blast. They've been absolutely superb. So I read Pride and Prejudice, which is brilliant, Picture of Dorian Gray, another absolutely amazing book, Silas Marner by George Eliot. I've just finished Frankenstein, which I thought was exceptional, and the final one I wanted to get done before the end of the year, and it's going to be Christmas, so this will be a December read. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I've never read it. It's a nice short Dickens to start my adventure with Dickens, because a lot of his are proper chunkers. So a short one. But why this one? Because, I mean, so my favourite Christmas movie is The Muppets Christmas Carol. So I now need to read the original text and see how relatable they are. So I'm going to read this. I will watch Muppets Christmas Carol again this Christmas, I am sure. And I'll see if my little toddler has any interest in it whatsoever. He probably won't, because anything his dad wants to watch, he doesn't want to watch. So it may just be me watching it. But anyway, Christmas Carol from Charles Dickens will be the second one on this list. Now, there's also in December a Remember December Readathon going on with various sort of hosts who've done their announcement videos already. And I will forget some of them, so please forgive me, but I'll link them all down below. But we've got Roz from Scallydandling About the Books. We got Shelley from Shelley Swearington. We've got Ollie from Criminolly. We've got Miss Reads a Lot. And there's a couple more, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But they'll all be linked below, so go and check those channels out and check their announcement videos. But there's 3 prompts for the Remember December Readathon. And that is to reread a book. And they give 3 prompts. So one of them is to reread it in a different format. One of it is to reread a book that you've basically completely forgotten about. And I can't remember the third prompt either. But the book I want to reread, is The Hobbit by JRR Tolkein. This is one of my favourite books from childhood. It's one of my core memories of childhood, of my dad reading this to me when I was a little kid. I've reread it a few times, but I haven't read it for a good number of years now, probably over a decade. So I'd like to pick it up again. This is the illustrated version. There are a couple of other versions around the house. But what I want to do to match one of the prompts is actually I want to listen to the audiobook. So I believe Andy Serkis has done a new audiobook. I say new, I don't know when it came out, probably a little while ago. But he's done an audiobook. I know he's done all the Lord of the Rings as well. I've not listened to any of them, but I would like to reread The Hobbit by listening to the Andy Serkis audio. So I think that'll be a great listen. I've heard very good things about his performance on those audio books. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to reading this after, I think it has been 10 years. Must be about that. Must be about 10 years since I've last read it. So we'll go and visit Smaug, however you want to pronounce it. I say Smaug because that's what my dad used to say. So superb. I'm really looking forward to this. And continuing on the fantasy theme, we've got a few other fantasy books. So Babel by RF Kuang. Now RF Kuang is becoming quite the name in writing at the moment. She obviously had her Poppy War trilogy, This, which I think won the Nebula this year. Is it Nebula? She certainly won awards with it. And Yellowface, which is obviously massively popular in a different genre to this as well. So quite the talented author whose reputation is ever growing. So I'd like to read Babel, and we're doing, as planned, read along with MJ from Reading This Life on her channel and her Discord. So we're going to be reading this in December. So this is Dark Academia. Again, a subgenre of fantasy that I've not read a huge amount of, so I'm really looking forward to reading and picking up this and seeing what RF Kuang's writing style is like. Next, another fantasy, and this is continuing a series, and again, I suppose in academia, a book as well, but this is my continuation of my first ever reading of Harry Potter. So this is the Half-Blood Prince, which is the 6th book. So I want to read the 6th book by the end of the year, and then I can get into the 7th book. And as I've been reading these, they've got generally better and better. The first 2 were pretty meh. To be honest, I wasn't overly impressed. They were fine, but they weren't that amazing. But they have got better since then. The 3rd, 4th and 5th have all been very good. So I'm looking forward to the 6th. As they get darker and the tension grows, they seem to be getting better. So this will be in that list to read before the end of the year. And then a series I want to finish this year. So I started this earlier in the year, and I've read the first 3 books, and this is the 4th and final book of The Faithful and the Fallen by John Guin. This is Roth, or Wraith? Roth. I would say Roth. So this is the problem. As soon as I put the camera on, I struggle to remember how to say words. But that's the way it goes. So anyway, Roth by John Guin. So as I say, it's the 4th in the series, the 4th and final in the series. So I'm really looking forward to completing this. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the characters. I mean, this has got a huge number of points of view that we cover off in this, but you know, our main character Corbin, his journey through these books has been exceptional, but there have been other ones as well that have really stood out. Some great character work. I really want to finish the series and go back and just see how many point of views there were actually in these books. But this is epic fantasy, multi-POV epic fantasy, and there are certainly plenty of tropes that work in here. You've got the animal companions, you've got prophecies, you've got loads of other stuff. The 3rd one ended really well, and I want to pick up the 4th before the end of the year. A different tack, but another series I want to finish this year is Stieg Larsson's Millennium Trilogy, and this is The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, the 3rd, and I'm going to say final in this trilogy. There is a 4th book, but it wasn't by Stieg Larsson, but supposedly it fits in with this trilogy, but I've not heard good things about it. So I'm going to read the 3rd one, and that'll probably be where I finish. I've enjoyed the first 2. This is crime fiction. I think they've all been made into movies, and I thoroughly enjoyed the first 2. The one thing that gets me about Stieg Larsson is he gives us a lot of detail which seems unnecessary in the storytelling, which can be a little bit distracting, but actually, other than that, the story's really good. And what I mean by unnecessary detail is, I think in the last one, Lisbeth Salander went to IKEA to buy new furniture, and we got the list of sort of model of IKEA furniture that she was putting into her apartment. Anyway, it didn't make any difference to the storyline. It's just, why are we getting this level of detail? So this is the 3rd and final one. I'm looking forward to it, seeing where Lisbeth Salander and Mikael Blomkvist end up, what adventure they've got to finish this series off, and it is another chunker. So I've got a few chunkers to get through before the end of the year. But continue on the crime, I want to continue with the Richard Osman Thursday Murder Club. So I read Thursday Murder Club, the 1st book in this series, earlier in the year. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, the octogenarians are elderly people as our protagonists, investigating murders and crime. This is the 2nd one, The Man Who Died Twice. So I want to pick this up. I think there's 4 out now already. I've got another one down there, The Bullet That Missed, something like that. So I think there's 4 out now. So I want to continue with this. This is, I suppose, in a sense of cozy crime, murder, mystery. But yeah, I really enjoy the Thursday Murder Club. They seem like a great group of characters, and it's nice to have older protagonists leading the way in a crime story. Oh, my part's going to fall over. Okay, so 2 more, and we're going to move into the sci-fi genre for the final two. And these are two absolute classics that I haven't read. The first one is I Am Legend by Richard Matherson. This has been on several TBRs this year and I still haven't got to it. And so I really, really need to get to it before the end of the year. I've heard wonderful things. I know this has been made into a couple of films now. But as always, I've heard that the films aren't as like the book and they're not as good as the book. So I want to read the book and see what it's like. It's only a short one, but every time I put on a TBR, it seems to slip to the bottom of that TBR. So hopefully this time it will be different. But that's I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which is apocalyptic sci-fi. And then finally, an author. This is one of those authors that I feel I really should have read. And it's one of those big gaps in my reading history that I feel that I desperately need to fill and fill as soon as possible. And I managed to pick up this pristine copy secondhand. It's almost like, well, I don't think it's ever been read. And that is Ursula K. Le Guin's The Lathe of Heaven. So obviously she's got quite a few incredibly popular and famous books, but this will be the first one just because I managed to get it secondhand. And I say it's absolutely pristine. I don't think it doesn't feel like it's ever been opened. So looking forward to this. Looking forward to seeing what Ursula K. Le Guin's writing is like and how good it is, because I've heard so much praise for her work. Obviously, she's been an incredibly successful author in the sci-fi genre. She's won, I don't know how many Hugos, Nebulas and all that she's won, but she's certainly up there as one of the biggest names in sci-fi, and it is a huge omission that I have not read any of her work yet. So we're going to correct that before 2023 is out. So this is the 10th book I want to read before the end. So the end is rapidly approaching. We are now in middle of November, so we've got what, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks before the end of the year. 10 books to get through. We'll see if I can do it. I'm confident I can. If I put my mind to it, I can achieve it. I've had a fantastic reading year so far. This will take me up to somewhere sort of in the 80s, I think, 80 books this year, which is by far and away more than I've ever read in the year before. So that has been wonderful, and so far I've not had a DNF this year. Now I don't DNF very often at all, but I've not had a book that I've really had to struggle through to finish. That's really positive. So hopefully these will all continue that trend and I can have one of the best reading years I've ever had in my life for 2023 and start 2024 on a real positive. So thank you for watching. I will have all the channels I've mentioned and the hosts for the various readathons down below in the comments. Please do go check them out because there are some fabulous channels down there. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.